So we are discussing about the client administration part, means client creation and how to log into the newly created client. So to log into the newly created client, so there is a parameter we have to change it, parameters. So why? Because system configuration by default, system will not allow you to log into the newly created client. Why? Because as per the configurations. So you need to change the configuration. So in this case, so there is a concept is called the profiles and parameters concept. In SAP system, we have so two types of profiles are there here in SAP. There is a two types of profiles are there. One is the instance profile in the instance. One is the instance profile. The second one is the default profile, instance profile and default profile. In the instance profile, we have the two types. In the instance profile, we have the two types again. One is the ASCS related profile. The second one is the application server related profiles here. So then default, we have all the default settings. All the default settings are available in default settings. All the default settings are available in this profiles here. So we have the two types of profiles. In the types of profiles, there is a when you install the SAP, there are the two instances will be created. One is called the primary application server profile, and the second one is the ASCS profile. They are the two instance profiles and one default profile which contains the default settings. Default settings means so suppose you want to change the language. Language is the one of the default settings. Why? Because global settings. Then system client, system underscore client. If you set the system underscore client, that is the system client related parameters. All the default settings, DB, SID, host names, these all are comes under the default settings, the default parameter. So ASCS means message server, NQ server related settings are available in the ASCS profile. Then remaining all application server related buffers, application server related dialog work process, BTC work process. So anything you want to change or increase, we have the primary application server profile. We have to change it here. So where to change these profiles here? So here in the RZ10 and RZ11, we have the two transaction codes for the profile parameters. Here we need to change the profiles. Here we have to change the profiles and parameters. So profiles are the text files. Inside that we have the parameters are there. So parameters are located in inside of the profiles here. Profiles here, right? You need to select the profile, respective profile. Suppose you want to increase the dialog work process. You want to decrease the dialog work process. Then you need to go to the application server profile, right? Which instance you want to increase it. You need to go to the respective application server. You need to increase it. If you want to decrease, if you want to change some settings here, message server, NQ server, you need to change it here. In the profile, we have the static profiles, static parameters, and we have the dynamic parameters are there. In the types of parameters also, we have the static parameters and the dynamic parameters. Static means once you change the parameter value, so you need to restart the system to affect the changes. To affect the changes, you need to restart the system here. Then dynamic means you no need to restart it. You no need to restart it here. It will affect immediately. But this is the temporary changes. These are the temporary changes. After restart, everything will be gone. But here, these are the permanent changes. After the restart, the value will be affected. The value will be affected here. These are the permanent changes. That's why. So we have the RZ10. Here we need to change the parameters in the RZ10, and these parameters we have to change it in the RZ11 here, right? So static and dynamic parameters here. So static means once you change the value of the parameter, you have to restart the system to affect the changes here. But dynamic, you no need to restart it. The value will be affected immediately. But these are the just temporary changes only. These are the temporary changes here. RZ10 and RZ11 changes here, right? They are the two types of profiles, instance profile and default profiles here. So where to change these parameters? What is this parameters means? System configuration settings. System configuration settings. Why? Because after during the installation, you will get the default settings, SAP default initial settings, you will get it out. Then after that, we have to change it based upon our requirement, business requirement. We need to adjust the work process, memory values, buffers. So some of the values we have to adjust it here. So then we need to change the values here. Suppose just take the outside of the example here, the example of the outside. So when we are doing the changes, so normally when you purchase the mobile, when you purchase the new mobile from Amazon or Flipkart or any shopping mall, so then you will get the new mobile with the default settings, right? Default ringtone, default theme, default sound volumes, default, everything will be the default, the company related default things you will get it out in the your mobile when you purchase it. Same as like after the installation, how we got it, same way we will get it. Then after that, what we will do, as soon as you purchase the mobile, then you will go to the settings. Then you will change the mobile ringtone to your fancy name, fancy ringtone, fancy theme, fancy settings, fancy maybe whatever fingerprint, whatever you want, you can change it. Depends upon the your customer, your business requirement. You will change it. Right, right. So same as like in SAP also by default you will get it out. But some people they are not interested with the default one. You want to change it. That time, so there is a parameter settings here, RZ10 and RZ11 parameter settings. Here we need to, you need to adjust the your system settings, you need to adjust it here. In this case, you need to log into the your SAP system here, right? You need to log into the SAP system. So then here go to RZ10, RZ10, RZ10. So here we have to change the values here. Here we have to change the values here. First we have to import the profiles. So then if you just click on the profile, which profile you want to change it here, right? So you can see we have the types of profiles to default profile, instance profile. So default profile, all the default parameters here. Go to the extended maintenance, not the administration data and basic maintenance. This is for the other usage purpose to change the location, to change the location of the parameters, to change the some different settings here. So we should not touch this one. And also the basic maintenance also, we should not touch this one here. So it's not required to touch it here, right? So only thing is you need to go to the extended maintenance to click on the change mode or display mode here. So no underscore. So there is a parameters. You see here, these are the parameters. This is the profile. Inside of the profile, these are the parameters are available here. Your server name, your host name, your SID, your message server details, your client details, your ACL modes, your system login underscore system underscore client, 100 client is defined. So here you can change it whatever you want. So Allah, suppose if you want to change it, just click on the button, edit button, just click on the, here the values are there, here you can just change it. Here values you can change it here, but don't change the default values here. The default values, if you change it, system it won't start it here. So before changing, you need to carefully check it out. Also we have the two instances, right? So 10 and 20, we have the two instances are there here, right? Suppose you want to change, the instance number 10 here. So then just click on the, so change mode. Cannot check the purple is current. Okay. Go to RZ10 here. Then suppose you want to change the, so profiles here. Go to the here you can see the, so here dialog work process. So dialog work process. These are the parameters here. These all are the parameters and their values here. Parameters and their values here. Suppose, so dialog, suppose you want to increase the dialog work process. This is the parameter. RDISP slash WP underscore NO underscore dia 4 is configured, which means currently we have the 4 dialog work process there in the application server, right? If you go to the SM50 here, so here you will get the details here. Here we have the four dialogue work process, four background work process are there. Suppose I don't want to four, I want to five. Then just you can go to the here change mode, change mode. Instead of four, you can maintain the five here, right? Instead of that one, you can maintain the five here. You can maintain the five here. So you can change the work process number here. You can change the work process number here. After changes here, just click on the copy button, right? Then go back, save, and activate, save and back and activate the profile here. So saved and activated here. So see here, there is a note here. So to affect the activating the profile, so you have to restart the application server. You have to restart the application server here. You need to restart the application server here. See here, the value which you changed is the dialog work process number is 5. But is it affected immediately? No. Why? Because still it is the 4 only. Still it is the 4 only here. Still we have the 4 work process only here, right? 4 dialogues are available here. So now you want to change. Now you want to change it here, right? So then you need to restart it. Then you have to do the restart of the application server here. Why? Because after you changes of the parameters, you have to do the restart. Normally, when you do the some settings in the mobile or some computer, you need to do the restarts, right? Similar way to affect the parameter value, you need to do the restarts here. Suppose like 20 application server. Then just click on the restart. Only application server restart, you have to perform it here. So why? Because it's a 20. So then you need to do the restart here. So then the value which we have the work process are right. So then, so we have the four dialog work process, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now it will come to the file status here. Now it will come to the file here. Now it will come to the file status here. Why? Because you have increased the value. You have changed the value here. So, but if you want to see here, you can just click on the refresh. See here five work process, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Five dialogues. Five dialogues are there here, which means so the value got so affected. Means what you have done is you have done the restarts. You have done the restart of the application server. You have done the restart of the application server. Then the value got affected here. The value got affected here. You can see here the value got affected here. So here we have
Can
the
we,
five work process are there here.
one question here. Can we restart the application server like this in the production?
Not here. Yeah, I'm coming to that part. Not I'm coming to that part. Especially for the production systems. So we have to do it in the weekends, off business hours, off business hours. When we don't have the business, that time we need to do the restart. Why? Because here system restart means there is a downtime for the downtime for the so users, business users, which means so users will not log in during this restart time here. So that's why so we need to plan, we need to schedule this type of activities like the parameter changes, which are the restart is required. So we have to plan this one. So maybe profile parameters changes, kernel upgrades, then so SAP upgrades. These all are the during the downtime. Downtime is required. Downtime means system should be restarted here. So we have to restart the system. These activities, so we have to plan in the so during the weekends where which we don't have the much business. Then so during the off business hours or weekends, we have to plan this type of activities here. If it is the emergency cases, already business is impacted, then in that case, so we can do it in the off business during the business hours also here. So, but most of the this planned activities, this is a planned activity. We want to increase the work process. This is the planned activity. So which means it's not the unplanned, it's a planned one, so that we can do it in the during the off business hours. During the off business hours, we have to plan these activities here. Why? Because customer they won't agree the downtime. They won't agree the system means business downtime activities during the business hours. Why? Because it will be loss for business, so they won't agree. So that's the reason we need to plan outside of the business hours. We have to plan these activities. Okay, so any parameter changes, which is the static parameters. So we have to
Repeat,
restart
sir.
the. Yes, please.
The static and which parameters are dynamic parameters? Is there any view is available in SAP?
Yes, yes, it is available. Still, yeah, I will explain it. Yeah.
Okay.
So these are about the static parameters. Static
Sir,
parameters.
hi sir, one more doubt. Actually, we changed the parameter under the one application server, right? So we need to restart the application server only, or we need to restart the system.
And
Both.
application server is enough. One application server, if you have the application servers, you restarted, application server is enough. Anyhow, system is not available, you want to restart the entire system, then you can restart the entire system.
Oh,
That's your wish, your plan. So, but one application server is enough. If you want to only change in the one application server, you can change it in the one application server. So that will not create any harm.
okay, so both will work same, right, sir?
Yes, yes, right.
Yeah,
Okay.
thanks.
So here,
And adding to the, I mean, sorry, Ravindra garu. So I troubling you. So we are changing to be reset because we are changing physically the parameter. So the parameter file should be in the
file,
application server or in the
yeah,
database side.
it's in the application server level.
The parameter.
It's in the application server level. There is a one folder. In the folder OS level, there is a one folder. It will be save the changes into the one folder level here. One folder level, it will save the changes here. Whatever the changes you are doing, it will save the changes in the application server level. So not the way, because
Okay.
we are doing only changes in the application server, SAP specific changes. So here it is available in the application server level itself. It is available, but you don't need to go to the OS level and do the changes here. In the application level, SAP given the two transaction code to change the profile parameters. So those are the RJ10. There you can go to here. So you can change the values of the parameters here. So in case your value is not found here, in case your parameter value is not there here. So maybe because maybe the page length issues or something is some parameters which will not show here. Then in this case, you can just click on the create. You can just click on the create option here. Then you will get the parameter name and value. So here, even though if you don't know what is the parameter name and value here, right? Why? Because there are the lakhs of parameters are there. So it's not easy to remember. So all the parameters, some of the parameters we can remember it. Some of the parameters it's not possible to remember it here. So then there is a browse button here. If you go to the browse button here, in the left side, you will see the lot of parameters here. You can see the lot of parameters here. It is coming to the here. So suppose you want to change the some login parameters. Just type it here, login slash. You remember only one word that is called the login parameter. So login parameters. Suppose like in the login parameter, you want to disable the multi-GUI login, disable the password login, failed user to auto unlock after the midnight. So then fail the session end, minimum password length, minimum password digits, how many letters, lowercase letters, special characters, anything you want to maintain, multi logon users here. So multiple logon users here. So then you can maintain the value here. So multi logon users means so multiple users can log in at a time. So which means what are the users you can maintain here? Suppose basis, DDIC users, what are the users you want to log in multiple time here? So here it will be updated who changed it and what time it changed it here. Then copy it here. When you copy it here, then the parameter will come into the in this list here. Then copy, then again you copy back, save, and so activate, save, activate, copy, save, activate. So you have to restart the application server to affect the changes. So definitely to whatever the changes you have done, we need to restart the SAP application server here. So instead of doing one by one, just change the whatever you want to do changes, perform the all the changes. Finally, one time you can do the restart, the value will be affected here. The value will be affected here. So some parameters are dynamic parameters. Sir, how can we check which parameter is static and which parameter is dynamic here? Go to the RZ11, go to the RZ11. Here maybe you can put the some of the parameters here. Suppose example, one of the parameter like GW, gateway related parameter, ACL mode. If you click on the open, here there is a change value, right? There is a change value here. If the change value means changing the value of the parameter here. So this is the dynamic parameter. Why? Because the value is impacted immediately. Immediately the value is impacted. The value is impacted. Why? Because if any parameter in the RZ11, you are getting the change value button is enabled, means dynamic switchable. If any parameter is dynamic switchable, that is called the dynamic parameter, which means you no need to restart the system. Suppose if you take the one more parameter here, this is called the login / no underscore automatic underscore user SAP star. So what is this parameter for? This parameter is for the login to the newly created client, login to the newly created client with SAP star with pass is the password, with pass is the password. So there is a requirement, you created the client, you want to log into the newly created client, but system is not allowing. Why? Because this password is disabled. SAP star with the pass is by default, you will get that password here. That is disabled here. So you want to log in that password here. You want to log in that password here. So then in this case, SAP star with pass is allowed. If the parameter value is changed, the value will be impacted here. If you go to this RZ11 display mode, there is no change value button. It's not the dynamic switchable. It's not the dynamic switchable here, right? It is not the dynamic switchable. So definitely it's not the dynamic parameter. So we have to change this parameter in RZ10. We have to change this parameter in the RZ10 value. You have to change this value in RZ10. Someone already locked this transaction. You can see when I execute button, some user is maintained by the RDDIC user. So which means someone is already editing the parameter value, someone is editing. While I am telling the class, some other person in the back end is trying to edit the profile, which means he knows everything. So he is still doing the practical. So in this case, what I can do, I can go to the SM04. So I can go to the SM04. So then maybe he came out of the screen. That's why you can see. So here, if I go to the RZ10, right now you can see I'm able to edit it here. Okay. So maybe that guy he came out of the screen, I think. Yeah, go to the extended maintenance, go to the change mode. So there is a parameter, right? So login / no underscore automatic parameter. Actually, this value should be 0. This value should be 0 here. This, if the value should be 0, normally it should be by default, it should be 1. If the value is, so if the value is, so 0, so then, so SAP star with the password is allowed to log into the newly created client. So by changing this parameter, we can log into the newly created client with SAP star with the pass is the password. With the pass is the password by default password. So we can log in. So we can change it the value to the 0, go back, copy, add, save, then save. So then activate the profile, then it will say like you have to restart the application server now. So now what we can do, we can go to the here SAP level, just to restart the entire SID or one application server, we can do the restarts here. So that, so whatever the client we created yesterday, that we can log in with the, so SAP, that client we can log in with the, so password, that password, whatever the pass, SAP star with the pass, we can log in. Why? Because for the newly created client, no one cannot log in. Why? Because only client you created, there is no data. Sir, I have already user in the 100 client or 001. Then I am unable to log into the newly created means you cannot log in. Why? Because you have the user only 100 client. So the user's data, everything is only client specific data, client dependent data. So it's not for the other clients. So then for the login to the, how to log into the newly created client means, so then you need to enable the one parameter. You have to change the one parameter. This is called the login / equals to 0. You need to change it. So then restart the application server. Then you can log into the newly created client with the SAP star user. Pass is the password. You can log in. Sir, how can we know which parameter is the static or dynamic means. If you go to the RZ11, so if the give the parameter name and see if the parameter value is dynamic switchable, this is one of the very important question. How can we know which parameter is static and dynamic? If you go to the RZ11 and see the status of the parameter, if it is the dynamic switchable, if it is the dynamic switchable, then the parameter is the dynamic parameter. Means without any restarts, we can log into the our SAP systems here. Without any restart, we can log into the SAP system here, right? So yesterday, suppose example, if you go to the RZ11, so just to go to this parameter value, any one of the parameter value, see here. So this is the dynamic switchable. So there is no change value here. So it's not the dynamic parameter. If you go to the any one of the parameter ACL mode gateway related parameter, so this is the dynamic switchable. Then like that, you can go to the gateway simulation mode. So this is also change value is there. Then this is the dynamic switchable. So then this is also dynamic value, which means we can without restart, the value will be impacted. So suppose if I go to the RZ11, so there is a RDisk flash WP underscore NO underscore dialog work process related parameter. So if the value is 5, you want to change it here, there is no value here, there is no change button. Why? Because it's not the dynamic value, it's a static value. Means you need to change it to the RZ10 and restart the application server here. Restart the application server here. Then the value will be impacted. So example, yesterday we created the one client, right? There is a client we created here yesterday. What is that client?
900, sir.
Yeah, 900, right? 900 client. Yes, I think 900 client. So now yesterday we are unable to log in because of this parameter value not changed here. So then I change it to the 900 SAP star, then PASS pass. See here, I am able to log into the newly created client here. Now I can log into the newly created client. If you change one time in the system, whatever the new clients you have in the system, any client you can log into the newly created client. Any client you can log in. It's not like that. So for every client we need to change it. The parameter value are the system wide parameter, system wide. Within the system itself, we have the clients. So if you change the value, it will impact the entire system. So entire system, it will be impacted. Entire system will be impacted here. So here, so these are the parameters RZ10 and RZ11. Now we know how to log into the newly created client, right? So there is a parameter concept. We need to restart the system. So definitely we need to restart the system to affect the changes. It is the permanent changes. When you are doing in the RZ10, these are the permanent here. RZ10, we have to do it. RZ11 is the static dynamic parameters. So you no need to restart it here. So any parameter, normally if you are changing mean that is the permanent only, right? Then definitely RZ10 we will change it. In a weekend, we will do the restart. Weekdays, maybe we will set the parameters. Then weekends, when you restart it, the value will be impacted here. Value will be impacted here. Any value we can change it here. Any parameter, select the any parameter. Suppose you want to change the ACS profiles parameter. Go to the external menu, changes. Here nothing, we will change it. Why? Because it's a ACS, right? We cannot access from here. So maybe voice level, we can change it. So default profile, if you want to change it, suppose I want to change the default client is the 100. I don't want to 100 client. I want to 900 default client. Then you can change the value to the 900 value. If you change the 900 value, suppose example, so copy, back, copy, save, copy and activate. Okay, you can just copy, save, activate. You need to restart the system now. You changed the value to 900. So whenever you are logged into the SAP system, the default client value it is showing the 100 client. I don't want to 100 client. I want to 900 client as per the my business requirement. Then you can change the value here now. It will impact all the users. Means all users whenever they are logging. So in the screen they will get the 900 client option, they will get it out here. 900 option, they will get in the system here. So let's see how it will work now. I changed it here. I'm restarted. Application server is shut down. Application server is shut down. Application server is shut down. Application server is shut down here. Still work process is not started. So let me double click on it here. Now it see it will pointing. It is connecting. So it is connecting. So why? Because work process are not in the waiting state. That's why you are not did not get the screen here now. Now it's in the waiting status. So immediately you will get the SAP screen. SAP screen you will get it out here. So SAP screen logon screen you will get it out here. So once it comes to the fully green, now it's green, right? You will get the SAP screen. Oh, we already received the SAP screen here. You can see here. You can see now 900 client here. So settings, values, anything configuration changes SAP, only SAP. Don't go to the database level. Okay. Only thing SAP level, any changes you want to do. So then these are the profile parameters. You have to go and you need to do the changes. Only SAP star with pass is allowed. Why? Because there is no data, there is no other clients will not be allowed here. Why? Because nothing. Why? Because only SAP star with the pass, the parameter you change it, it is allowed. It is allowed here. So then after that, what? After that, so since in the parameter in the client copy, we have the so in the client creation, logical system creation is done. Then what next after that here? So sir, now in the system, this is the SAP system here. Within the SAP system, you have the two clients, default clients, 001, 000, 001 clients. You created the new client that is called the 100 client or 900 client you created. So that's fine. But as of now, my data is available in the 000 client. Why? Because SAP standard data, master data is available here, but it's not available here. Then how can I get? Sir, last 1 month onwards, I am doing the work in the 001 client only. All the my data is available in the 001 client, not in the 900 client here. Sir, again, do I need to spend 1 more month to create the similar data in the 900 client? No, it's not required. So SAP introduced the one option that is called the client copies option. Client copies option here. Client copies. So which means we have the three types of client copies are available in SAP here. Client copies here. Client copies means so copying the data from copying data from one client to another client, copying the data from one client to another client within the system. Within the system, that is called the local client copy. Local client copy. We have the one more client copy is called the remote client copy. Then one more method is the export and import methods here. So we have the three types of client copies are available here. Three types of client copies are available here. One is the local client copy, remote client copy, client export, import. In future, in your customer, is there any, suppose there is a requirement to create the new client, then so please copy the data from in this client to in this client. There is a requirement. Why? Because if we want to do the testing on in this client data affected, so there is a dangerous. So you want to create the one dummy client, you want to move the data to the here to do the some testing activities here. In that case, so if they will request us to create the client, then copy the data from the 001 to here or 001 to here or here to here. From one client to any other client, we can do it. So to perform this one within the system, right? So then SAP, there is a method is called the local client copy. SCCL is the transaction code for the local client copy here. Using this transaction code, we can copy the data from one client to another client here. So to perform this one, we need to, what are the steps we need to follow to perform the local client copy? Sometimes client creation is done, fine. Then what about the data? Sir, I have already data is available. Then how can I get the similar data to here as well? I have the users, hundreds of users are there here. Then I want similar hundreds of users here as well. I want to log in, which means how can I get the data here, right? So to here, so log into the newly created client, maybe in this case 900, then go to SCCL transaction code, SCCL transaction code. So then select the data, select the profile, means which data you want to copy, which data you want to copy. Profile means which data you want to copy. Then just run in background mode or in the front end mode. You can run it front end mode. So front end mode is the not suggestible mode. So that so in the run in the back end mode, it will schedule a background job. Your data will be copied from here to here. Sir, how to do that one? Okay, in that case, you have to log into the newly created client. Go to the SCCL. Then target client is the 900. What is the source profile? Which data? So the client data, so some customers, they want to copy all the data, whatever the data is there in the source client, 001 client, 001 client. So or 0001, they want to copy all the data from here to here. Then in this case, we can select all the data here. So no, I don't want to copy all the data. There is a particular selective data, which means I want to copy only users. Then SAP underscore users. I want to copy only customization, then customization data. I want to copy only profiles, I want to copy users without authorizations. I want to copy, so this one. So if you want to copy all, you can select the all. I don't want to copy all. I want to copy only users from which client? So 001 client. Then you can copy it here. Then you can run as a background job, or if you run in the immediately in the dialog mode. In the dialog mode, if you run it, your screen will be freezed until the copy is completed. Then if you just run it in the background job, immediately what will happen? So whatever the data is there in the 001 client, so all the data will come into the picture here, right? So client copy is scheduled. There is a log is SCC3. One client copy is running now. If you go to the SM37, so then if you see here, the client copy is active here, right? Client copy is active, which means the data, whatever the data is there. Suppose users data I am copying. Users data means here, so they are the users. There nothing, no users here, right? They are the no users in the, so no values found. In the 900 client, there are no users. But in the 001 client, we have the some users, right? We have the some users here. Suppose basis user, right? Basis user here. So if you go to the SU01 transaction code, oh, SU01 not authorized. So you have some users. The data will come into the in this screen here. So the logs SCC3 is the transaction code. Here you can see the client copy. It's completed. See, 103 tables are copied. So deleted lines, new lines copied. How much time it's taken? Maybe maximum in 1 or 2 minutes it's completed. Local client copy from source client 001, 900 client here. Which means if you go to the SU01 here, if you go to the users tab here, you see 25 users now. Previously, there are no users here. Now, we have the 25 users data copied from the that 001 client to 001 client to then 900 client data got copied here. How it got copied? You did the client copy. Similar, like within the your mobile, suppose like example, outside of the example, you have the mobile. This is your mobile phone. In the mobile phone, this is the documents folder. Then this is the downloads folders or personal folder. You want to copy the data from here to here. Then what you will do? You will copy here, then you will paste into in this folder, right? Local within the system. Suppose documents to, suppose you want to copy this document, this log file from here to, so my here in this location, I want to copy here. So copy paste. So then the local client copy. So this is the target, that is the source here. Similar behavior, so copying the data from one client to another client, local client copy here, right? Here, we need to log into the target client only. Why? Because our client copies are pull mechanisms, not the push mechanisms. Suppose if you want to data, what you want, if you need something, You need something from the shopping mall, then you will visit the shopping mall, then you will pull whatever you want, then you can go to your home, right? Same kind of behavior is our client copy. Means if you need something data to the here, you want data to the here means you need to log into the, you need to come and you need to log into the 900 client. From here you need to use the SCCL transaction code. So then you need to use it, which means we need to log into the newly created client, that is called the target client, where you need the data. You need to log into the target client, then you need to pull the data from the respective source client that you have to pull it here. That is called the local client copy, right? While copying the data, which data? You want to copy all the data. If you want to copy all the data, yes, we can copy it, but there is an option. Now, 900 client, right? Then you can log in with the SAP store. Why? Because data is copied. Now you can log in. Why? Because all the users, whatever the users are there in the 001 client previously we used, so all the users are available here. Now you can log in with the same user, same passwords. In the 900 client also you can log in. You can do whatever you want in the system here, right? You can do whatever you want to in the systems here. We have the all the 25 users are available here in this client, right? This is called the local client copy. Locally copying the data from means, one more example, within the Hyderabad city, so you want to parcel the one data like within the city only, then go to maybe LV Nagar to the Miyapur, then within the city only, right? You don't require anything, just go to then one place to another place. You can just move the data. That is called the local. Locally you are transferring the data. That is called the local data, local client copy. Suppose you want to transfer the data from one place to another place. So like one city to another city. Suppose like Hyderabad to Bangalore, right? This is the local client copy within the system. But I have one more system is there here. One more SAP system is there. Here I have the one more new client is there. I want to copy the data from, so here 900 client to in this client, you want to copy the data, whatever the data you want to copy. So this is called the remote client copy. Between two systems, between two clients, to copy the data, that is called the remote client copy. Remotely you want to copy the data. That is called the remote client copy, which means Hyderabad to Bangalore. You want to copy the data. Then, so Hyderabad, you will start it. Then via road, then you will transfer the data to the here, either the air transfer or either a water transfer, whatever you want. So you can just use the transferring the data to one city to another city. Then what is required here? Connecting between two cities. Connectivity is required between two cities. Then there is a one more new topic will come here while discussing the client copies, that is called the RFC administration. RFC administration means remote function call. How to integrate two systems, how to connect from one system to another system, how to load the data. Why? Because business means one server to another server, the data transmission will happen. When you log into the IRCTC, then when you book the ticket, then it will go to the banking site server. Then why? Because one server to another server, there is a connectivity is there. Then it is going to the banking site server. There you are committing all the transactions and everything. Then banking server will give the acknowledgement to the server. His payment is done. Then here the ticket is booked, right? So something like that. Amazon, one server to another server, the connectivity is how the connectivity works here. So that is the topic, how the connectivity works between two systems here, two servers. Server means it's not the idle, no, none of the connectivity. Server to server connectivity definitely should be there. Then only the transactions, the business will happen, right? So that's the reason the connectivity will work here. So here, so once the local client copy, if you practice it tomorrow, I will explain about the remote client copy. Remote client copy. The next method is the remote client copy. Then next method is the client export and import methods. Okay. So that is the next topic is tomorrow for the remote client copy. Okay. So today, so I will share some of the profiles. So some of the profiles I can share it. You can change that profile, the desired values, then restart the system. So that you will get the practice on the how to change the values in the RZ10 and RZ11, how to identify which is the static and which is the dynamic. Then So then you will come to know, then perform the local client copy, whatever the client you created, or it's already there, log into the new client, execute the SCCL transaction code, perform the client copies and see. So you will get the perfect. Tomorrow I will